With all the changes and updates we got with the Tesla Model Y, it definitely has me thinking, when is some of this stuff gonna come to the Model 3? There's been little refreshes with the Model 3 for the past couple years, with the Hardware 3 upgrade in 2019, but when it comes to the just general look and functionality, I'm hoping that at some point in 2020, maybe because the factories are shut down right now so they can retrofit some old parts, or given there's probably gonna be a whole lot more demand for the Model Y, that could give them some chances to re-engineer the Model 3 a little bit and just kind of update it for 2020, primarily taking a ton of stuff from the Model Y, which I think will make the Model 3 a decent deal and not completely unnecessary when a lot of people are considering buying a new vehicle, right? Because we all know Model Y, crossover SUV, very popular segment, and it could very quickly make the Model 3 not as high in demand. So making it a better deal, I think would be a good move, and one thing I absolutely want them to take over is the heat pump. This is something that should honestly just come to the rest of the Tesla lineup, and maybe it'll come with the Model S and X once Plaid mode is available, but if the Model 3 had that heat pump, it could also probably maximize efficiency in colder weathers, and given the interior of the Model 3 is a lot smaller than that of the Model Y, the Model 3 might have exponential benefits in that way because you don't have to cool as much airspace as you do with the Model Y. So adding that to the 3 makes a whole lot of sense to me. We also know that some of the manufacturing changes they made with the Model Y help on cost savings, and that's how they're able to simplify the unibody design with the Model Y if they were to bring some of that manufacturing over to the Model 3 so that it could cost less to make. Whether Tesla gets some more profit or decides to lower the overall cost to the consumer would be a benefit nonetheless. And of course, as I just talked about in yesterday's video, a heated radar to also help in those colder climates. Melting off the ice and or snow in those scenarios would be immensely helpful to also have on the Model 3. Not to mention a lot of just nifty features that people should expect when paying this much money for a car. The fact that the Model Y includes wireless chargers by default on the inside, like, why wouldn't you do that to the Model 3 when you're spending that much money on a car? Come on, Tesla, don't cheap out on the little details like that. And that's also why adoption of USB-C, like we saw on the Model Y for those back seats, would be very much appreciated as a guy who's really into that reversible yet symmetrical port, unlike USB-A, which is not reversible, but it is symmetrical, and that results in the annoying, having to check the USB port every single time. If this is a car that people are going to buy new in 2020, I feel like adopting USB-C is just trying to keep up with the times best they can. And a huge appreciated feature that a lot of people are getting with their Model 3 aftermarket is a powered trunk. So I get that because the trunk space is not as roomy as it is on the Model Y, maybe for cost-saving measures, they just didn't want to put in a powered liftgate on the trunk. But given that Model Y is probably going to be Tesla's bread and butter once the deliveries start ramping up more and more, bringing that to the Model 3 will just, I think, make the lineup more consistent, because at this point, Model Y has powered liftgate, Model X has it, Model S has it. Now the Model 3 is just kind of the oddball out. For the sake of consistency, give it the powered frunk. And I know the Model Y doesn't have it, but hey, a powered frunk, that would also be very much appreciated too, because the aftermarket accessories and the installation owners have to go through to try to install that in their own Model 3s. It's just too much work for a car they're already spending $40,000, $50,000 on. The other big help I don't think many people would disagree with, this is kind of a personal preference thing, but I'm kind of a big fan of the chrome deletes on the Model Y. And I know I probably should not call them chrome delete because there was never chrome to begin with, so it should just be considered matte black trim. But given the Model 3 has been sold with chrome for the past 3 years, just to give it kind of an updated look, like more of a recognizable way to know that, hey, that person bought a newer Model 3, making chrome delete by default, I don't know if it's harder in the factory, if it's more complicated. I feel like chrome is more messy to install, and that matte black trim would probably be easier, but I'm no expert when it comes to the factory manufacturing process. So you know what? Do whatever lets the Model 3 be cheaper, but if you could adopt chrome delete for the Model 3 and the Model Y, that I think would make the lineup a bit more consistent, and maybe the chrome trim can just be limited to, the luxury vehicles between Model S and X, and that can just be another easy differentiating factor. So when it's the lower cost, more updated Model 3 versus the more dated Model 3 from a couple years ago, it's not a huge deal, but again, I would appreciate it. And there's tons of stuff I'm sure you guys have suggested before, like a heated steering wheel, which is expected with a vehicle at this price. It's very heavily requested, so if Tesla could update that this year, it'd be great, as well as changing that awful glossy piano black center console. So many people people end up wrapping that thing, and if in 2020 they could finally respond to that and just give it more of a matte texture, I think everyone would be more happy with that choice. I apologize to the one guy out there that's gonna comment, hey man, I like that piano black center console. The way it collects dust and scratches and fingerprints, it's just gorgeous. Don't hate on my car. Okay, enjoy your car, that's fine. But for future reference, I don't think anyone would be that mad if you just decided to make it more matte finish so people didn't always have to wrap the car. And the last one that's probably really big that I still think is possible is updating the Model 3 range, and it's possible it's already been updated. They just haven't got around to updating the website, which is what they said with the Model S and X recently. Originally, when tweeting about the Model Y, Elon Musk mentioned that it should have about 10% worse range than the Model 3 because it's about 10% larger. So given the fact there's only 6 miles of difference between the long-range Model 3 and Model Y, I feel like there's some efficiency upgrades they gave the Model Y, whether it be wiring or battery chemistry or maybe just using different motors or something like that. But whatever energy efficiency tricks Tesla has up their sleeve that they gave to the Model Y to enable it to go 316 miles, please apply those same tricks to the Model 3 in some way, shape, or form, because I think it would help give the Model 3 more of a unique audience if there was more like 20 to 30 miles in between the two. So if the Model 3 ended up getting, I don't know, 340 miles of range this year or 350, that would be a noticeable upgrade that would bring eyes back to it and, you know, maybe loosen up the bottleneck of Model Y production that Tesla is probably going to be having for the rest of this year because everybody wants a Model Y. Everybody's going to be buying one. So those are probably the biggest updates I would love to see brought to the Model 3, just making it a better car overall. And let me know if there's anything I missed and stuff you would like to suggest for the Model 3 refresh down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.